not only food off your body, bait, empty your pockets, bait bag on the table, someone else has to hold it. So now I do this, you've got the food, dog's in between us, you're waggling the food, you're trying to distract my dog, and I'm telling him, Rover, sit.
Yeah.
The only way he's going to get the food is when he looks at me and sits, then I'll say, good boy, then you give him the food.
Yeah.
Once you've done that 8 times, now the dog won't look at you at all. You're wiggling the food, but he's sitting and looking at me. You see,
that's not what's important.
we have to train the dog that just because I have food in my hand doesn't mean say you're going to get it till you've done a bunch of stuff, instead of like sit, treat, down, treat, 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 treat. I mean, especially great lumps of cheese, your dog's going to, you'll knock out his pancreas, you know. So first, just because I have food in my hand doesn't say you're going to get it, but then just because I don't doesn't mean to say you won't.
Yeah.
So I'll do things like I'll go down to the park and I'll hide 3 treats, one in a crook of a tree branch.
Yeah.
Then I wash my hands, say, let's go to the park. Dog says, but you got no food. And I call the dog, come, sit. I did that with my Malamute, man. She looked at this tree like, I have found a treat tree. This is fantastic, you know. So that type of motivation now, you're going to have few times when the dog doesn't do it. You see, you know, if I ask a dog to do something and it doesn't, I think, well, I haven't been training right.
Yeah.
Because to me, 90% of training is motivating a dog to want to do it.
Yeah.
It's not telling the dog.
Yeah.
So it's first explaining to the dog what sit means. Yeah. And as we've gone into, you know, that takes a while because they're such, you know, fine discriminators. They think, I thought sit only meant sit in the kitchen when you're holding the food bowl. Sorry, didn't mean to upset you, owner. You know, so first explain to the dog what sit means, but 90% of training is motivating the dog to want to do it. When you sit, good stuff happens. So if I ask the dog to sit and he says, no, I'm sniffing another dog's butt, I think, damn, I've got to use that as a reward. So now it's always Rover sit, then I don't say sniff butt, I say hello, then he sniffs another dog's butt. And we do it as a setup.
Yeah.
You'd have a line of dogs, you've got 12 butts to sniff, sit, sniff, butt, sit, sniff, butt, and the dog goes, oh, you mean when I sit, I can sniff the butt. I thought sitting meant I couldn't sniff the butt.
Yeah, and then when
that's the fear the dog has.
And if he doesn't sit, he doesn't get to sniff the butt.
No, you got it.
Yeah.
And he has to sit following a single command.
Yeah.
So if I have to repeat the command, here's my formula. It's so simple. If I have to repeat the command, or I call it the request.
Yeah.
If I have to repeat the request, you have to repeat the entire exercise. You only get the reward when you do it following a single command.
Yeah. Okay.
And my grandpa used to do this with me, you know. And when I came up with this, I'm not raising my voice anymore training dogs. I'm getting extreme levels of compliance because I'm letting the dog know I'm formalizing my inconsistencies. And so if I say, Hugo, sit, or Hugo, move, it's a suggestion.
Yeah.
You know, like a stop sign in Scotland. And, sorry. You know, and it means I'd like you to sit. If you don't want to, don't.
Yeah.
And what amazes me is most of the time he does it. But I do this because I know I'm so inconsistent. Sometimes I follow up and sometimes I don't, and that's not fair.
Yeah.
It's not fair to be inconsistent and then get really pissed off sometimes. Okay. So now I'm going to signal to the dog, I'm going to be consistent now. And I'm only consistent with my dogs 3 minutes per day.
And that's when you're talking about using
the formal name.
Yeah.
So I'll say Hugo Louis, and that means the next word is a word for you. You must do it. And if I have to repeat the command, you repeat the exercise. So the quickest way to go back to life as normal Hugo again is to just do what I say right away. There's no arguments. And they learn so quickly. And we've now taken all pain and fear out of consequential feedback. Because it's the worst thing, I think, that has ever happened in science. That when we came up 110 years ago, reward versus punishment, and Edward Lee Thorndike, he went to dog trainers to find out how we train. If he'd gone to a kindergarten school teacher, it wouldn't have been reward versus punishment. It would have been reward versus re-instruct.
Yeah.
Because whatever you did beforehand, they obviously didn't know it well because they just got it wrong. And this is a little kid who would do anything for you to smile at him.
Yeah.
And so to me, I mean, it's a big book in my head, and I can't wait for my lifestyle to change in December when I'm going to have plenty of time to sit and write. I'm going to call it Barking Up the Wrong Tree. It should never have been reward and punishment. The reward bit was beautiful, but the punishment and the notion of something painful when you're training a dog or a horse or a child. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I just don't want to do it, period.
So,
And people are being forced to do it
Yeah.
because they haven't been given alternative means. And so the stuff I'm working on with dogs, the application is enormous for children. Enormous.
yeah. So what we'll do, we'll pause here and then we'll talk about that in the next clip.